Have we started?
Yeah, for now. Hello, Jake. How you doing? What's your day been like?
Boring. That's every day. Right, what are we talking about today then?
What do you want to talk?
Well, I suppose we can talk about Demeter getting delayed.
Oh yes.
I'm looking forward to that film.
I was, and it's been delayed.
Funny, innit? E1 went bust and Lionsgate did such and such.
Yeah,
That's funny.
They got bought out.
Funny, I was just watching an E1 movie the other day. Riddick.
Yeah. Riddick's. That's a good film, that.
Yeah, the one where he's trapped on a planet.
Is that the first one?
No, that's the third one.
Oh. Is that the one where the creatures at night? Right?
That's the one where the creatures that like water come out.
Oh. I don't think I've watched that. No.
Yeah. Same kind of premise. He's stranded on a planet. And then, he has to get off because there's creatures there that, come out at night. Well, not come out at night, but come out during the rain.
Yeah. The horrible creatures. Have you been seeing that Snow White? A woman is in Snow White the film being stupid.
No, what about
basically just dissing the movie. Like, the guy in the old one was apparently a stalker.
So wait, she's dissing the old movie?
Yeah, original.
So she's starring in the remake of an old classic movie, and she's shitting on it.
Yeah. It's like,
well,
the man's a stalker. It's not about true love. It's about her being a warrior. And I've already seen this movie. They did it in Snow White and the Huntsman.
Well, they should sack her, I think.
I mean, it's just this in the film that's put Disney on the map. It's this in the film that put Disney there.
Is this in the film that's, gonna, I don't know, make her career more interesting?
Well, it's a film that's picked Disney off. Yeah, she's been in Shazam and the Fury of the God.
What is she actually in that's good?
Not been in anything that's good.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is West Side Story. That's about it.
She was in West Side Story, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, which was a bomb at the cinema, and
she's going to be in the whole game.
Yeah. Which, yeah, I don't understand why you'd want this. A film that everyone loves is a classic.
Oh, and apparently she's going to be in the third Paddington movie as well, but I don't know how good that's going to be because it's not got the guy who made the first two doing it because he's busy doing Wonka.
Yeah.
I
just don't understand why you would do it.
It's like the original version of a movie that you're about to star in,
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense, does it?
No, like Disney put a thing out saying, "Oh, they're gonna have a talk about trying to get the fans back." All she's done is just made everyone go away. Like Disney put a thing out saying,
So sending a message.
"It's kind of a stupid person by this and I feel like that."
Yeah. But that's just her, isn't it, I guess?
She seems very entitled.
And very ungrateful. Why do young actors and actresses always get so ungrateful when they have their breakout hits, roles or whatever, and then they just get so ungrateful about the films that made them, you know? Like, what was it? Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox both were got big breakouts. They became big breakout stars with Transformers and Indiana Jones, and then they had to go and ruin it themselves. Shia LaBeouf called Indiana Jones a piece of shit.
Shia LaBeouf is not a writing.
Not right in the end. Shia LaBeouf called Indiana Jones a shit film, and Megan Fox compared Michael Bay.
For the worst people to ever live.
She compared him to Hitler, and Spielberg, being Jewish, didn't like that, of course.
God, I imagine she worked with fucking Nolan. She would hate Nolan.
Both of them were stupid enough to piss off Hitler. I nearly said Hitler then. Stupid enough to piss off Spielberg.
Yes, you don't want to do Spielberg like that.
One of the most influential directors in the industry, you know. He probably had them sacked before there was lunchtime or something like that. Anyway.
If he's one of the best directors there was.
Well, I still think he is, but you know, he just doesn't direct a lot these days, does he? No, there was a time when he was sending out like a movie a year.
Yeah.
But not anymore. He did West Side Story, though. He directed West Side Story.
But
anyway,
film.
So I've not seen the film. I know the stuff. I've seen the story. I know the story. Good story. We used to force us to do singing and dancing to it in school. The songs, Officer Krupke and all that shit. But you said working with Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
I don't. In her fucking dreams, I think.
Oh, so if she ever did work with him, she would hate him.
Megan Fox.
Yeah, she would like how he is because he's very particular with how he films stuff.
Yeah, and they're Machine Gun Kelly. Someone.
They did some shit.
They were coming out of a place or something, and one of the people, man at the sides, called Megan beautiful as fuck. Shouted, "Megan, you're beautiful as fuck," you know. And Machine Gun Kelly attacked him.
Oh, he's not.
And,
he's not.
And she got hurt in the ensuing scuffle. And the guy later was like, it's supposed to be a compliment, but okay, Because let's face it, no one can deny she is frigging bangers fit, honestly.
He got mad about that.
He got mad about, yeah. Alan says he won't be on with this podcast, so that's fair enough on him then. He's enjoyed himself.
I feeling he wasn't going to be on there.
Sorry, sent a message.
Is that Calvin messaging or Jason?
I don't know. Anyway, what else we got? Isn't there something you wanted to talk about? mean, it's in the thumbnail.
Well, is that have you listened to the song?
No.
No. It's so like such a great song. Just so that the guy really cares about what he's singing about.
Well,
He
what is
actually
he singing?
means every word.
Well, what's he singing about?
I'll try and I can bring it up actually.
You can just tell me if you want.
Well, he sings about like that the tax is too high and he doesn't make enough money even when he works overtime for the tax, and goes on about the the rich people in Richmond that want to control everything that you do and say, and he's just basically singing about how hard he finds life at the minute.
Well, everyone finds life hard at the minute.
He's just like, I think he's had enough of how everyone gets treated with the money and that. If you're overweight, you get benefits and all that shit.
Yeah, big America's greatest enemy is one of its own, the IRS.
Yeah, take all the money from the poor people. Guy just needs everything that he's saying.
Have you
Just
seen
like
the IRS
it's gone
logo?
viral, that song.
Seen the IRS's logo?
What is it?
It's some really looks like it's a really weird like tree branch and an eagle and a balance scale or whatever.
What bothers are they on about?
No idea. That's been going since it was that was formed. That agency was formed like since like I don't know the middle of the Civil War. And nobody likes them.
Well, no one's gonna like it when they take money off you.
Yeah. You've seen that movie Stranger Than Fiction with Will
No,
Ferrell.
no.
Will Ferrell plays an IRS agent, and he hears a voice narrating his life. And the voice is an author who's writing a story about him, unaware that he's a real person. And when he finds out that the author plans to kill him at the end of the story, he goes to a therapist or whatever, or an author or whatever for help. And he tries to diagnose what the problem could be. And he says, "Well, it seems like a threat on your life. Is there anybody you know that hates you?" And he says, "I'm an IRS agent. Everybody hates me." It's a good movie. Will Ferrell. Probably it's funny, but it's one of the few movies that you could call that he's done that's actually like serious. Anyway. So that guy's singing from the soul about how bad his taxes are, basically.
Yeah, like it's about him working for mincemeat for no reason. He works his butt off, gets extra time, and by the
You
time he
mean
gets his paycheck, taxes up most of the money.
you mean working for ends meet?
He's working for no reason.
Uh,
While the rich people just don't have to worry about all that shit. Just normal difference getting annoyed at the rich people.
It does sound interesting. I'll probably listen to it later. But, I mean, everybody's undergoing the same problems, I suppose. Government taking money, not enough to spend for yourself. You can't make ends meet. You know, it's just the way it is.
There's people living on the street that can't eat, but if you're fat and you get welfare benefits. You don't have to
Doesn't
worry
help.
about it.
Doesn't help that most of the people that end up on the streets, the moment they get some money, they go and waste it on drugs.
Well, there's a guy, like, because of the strike, he's a multi-millionaire, and apparently he has to sell his multi-millionaire house. That just tells me that he's not good at budgeting.
Yeah. I mean, how do you have to sell your house if you're a millionaire?
He's not spending his money correctly, I don't think.
Doesn't sound very smart.
He doesn't sound like a smart guy, yeah.
It's like, yeah, like most of the time when people end up on the streets homeless, it's like they turn to drugs to cope, and it becomes an endless, vicious cycle because they'll turn to drugs to cope, and the moment they do get some actual money, they'll just start buying more drugs to cope.
It's not easy.
There was a homeless person living near me once. I think I've told you this story before, but if she was really ungrateful, if you gave her anything and she didn't like it, she'd complain about it. Like someone gave her some chips once, not for American, just chips, fries, whatever, and
Fries, chips, same thing.
and she was unhappy because they had vinegar on them. She doesn't like vinegar.
If you're really starving, you're just gonna eat whatever.
If you were genuinely hungry, you would eat them. That's just ungrateful.
Obviously, isn't hungry that much.
Yeah.
If you're gonna complain when you're living on the streets, just tell me. But it's just like, but over there, homelessness is crazy, crazy out of control over there.
I've seen a video. I've seen a video of Gary, Indiana. It's a place in the United States. Unemployment there is through the roof. Most of the buildings have collapsed, into disrepair, basically. But someone who went there noticed that there's actually no homeless people there.
Not at all.
He didn't see anybody.
I think if you go to LA, you're gonna see a lot of homeless people. They're basically on the street. It's just like the song's really interesting. It just means every word that he's singing about, and you just tell.
Yeah. Ugh.
His song blown up. I don't think he expected it to blow up like much, but it did. It resonates with a lot of people.
I can imagine it does, I mean, because there's lots of people out there who are going to feel the same way, but the way things work, isn't it, sometimes? I'm back in 1 minute. Not even 1 minute.
He'll be back in a minute, and they said he won't be a minute. I was going to ask you, who do you think the best director is?
Best director?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of contenders. I mean, who do you think is the best? but who was the most popular, you know? We're
Yeah.
talking most popular. I think the most popular director of all time is obviously Spielberg, because, you know, the latter half of the 20th century, particularly the 80s and the 90s, they were just dominated by his movies, you know? But then you got who do you think best director is? And, well, for now, in today's world, that would probably be Christopher Nolan. In today's world.
Yeah.
Because while he hasn't made nearly as many movies as Spielberg has, they are good, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. Yes. Today's the Nolan. Is it? I don't know if you can. Is if it's well past the test of like 20 years, then I'll say he's like one of the best directors.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think he's done a wrong film yet.
Yeah, he hasn't. He's done films that are better than others, but he hasn't done a bad film really. People didn't like The Dark Knight Rises because of Bane, but you know, it's
So
just
the
a film.
Batman Rises is not that good of a Batman movie.
Still a good movie though.
The more you watch it, the less of a film it gets.
Still a good movie though.
I don't like Bane and I don't like Talia. I don't understand why you put him in the fucking movie.
Oh, why not?
It
Well,
wasn't really clearly a setup though, was it? He wasn't even hardly in the fucking movie, which is annoying. I know in the comics Bane's always a fucking the
he's
commander whatever, a brute.
he's always, he's always subservient to someone.
I like him being different in that film. I think because the voice is stupid on Bane, everyone starts taking the piss out of it, so.
They had to change it just before it came out because the preview he was too unintelligible in the preview. Nobody could understand what he was saying. Well, perhaps you're wondering why it's Superman before Black. It was changed. That was basically what it sounded like. But anyway.
Yeah, Bane's the only. That film's the only one that I don't like as much.
Christopher Nolan definitely does some good movies, though.
But then again, Nolan did make Batman make $1 billion at a box office, so. Not bad.
I mean, the Dark Knight trilogy basically brought superhero movies back into the limelight. Because like throughout the early to mid 2000s, superhero movies were on a downward spiral. You had the X-Men movies, you had the Fantastic Four, you had Spider-Man, and for the most part, like, you know, Spider-Man, the first two Spider-Man movies were good, and there was three that was not very good. But you had like superhero movies for the early 2000s all kind of followed the same formula, right? They were all dead goofy, basically, you know. But then in 2005, Batman Begins came along and completely changed the game, basically. You know, it presented an alternative
But
to how
people like, superhero movies can be more than just action and CGI. They can actually be a story to them.
people realize superhero movies can be presented in a different, like, you know, in a different way other than just being goofy. They can be presented as being serious, you know. You can treat the characters as if they're serious. Not that they're some, you
Can
know,
respect the characters.
make it more realistic instead of just being, you know, goofy and unrealistic, you know. Like
Probably.
it was a more realistic take on characters like the Joker, Scarecrow, Bane, Two-Face, you know. They weren't created through supernatural or unrealistic means. They were just bad people. Like the Joker isn't mutated by chemicals. He was just a psychopath with scars around his mouth and
Yeah,
makeup
to
on.
take advantage of the setting, they did.
That movie's fucking great. The second one.
Yeah, the start of it's awesome. Joker just kill, they all just start killing each other.
Yeah, manipulated by the Joker.
I remember seeing it the first time, like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah. I was too young. I didn't fully understand what was going on. I was too young.
I don't know what's going on, but I was like, this seems like an awesome movie.
Yeah. And it was an awesome movie. I dare say it's probably one of the best superhero movies.
It's definitely up there with Blade 1, because Blade 1 was sick.
Yeah. Even Blade 2 was good as well.
Blade 2 is probably my favourite Blade film.
What?
There's a lot more interesting stuff that happens in it.
It's like it's Del Toro, you know, so
Delta was awesome.
yeah, he really is. He's good at doing horror.
Yeah. Horror is like. I want to see. You want to do Frankenstein, didn't they?
Yeah, he wanted to do Frankenstein, but he also wanted to do games. Several times he tried to do games, and several times he was screwed over by the executives. You know, he tried to do. I can't remember what he tried to do before, but then he tried to do Silent Hills with Kojima, and that got screwed.
Yeah. Yeah. That was heartbreaking when that happened.
Can you imagine how good that game would have been? How horrifying it would have been.
It would have been terrifying.
Fuck
Probably
yeah, it would have been.
one of the best horror games.
You're lagging out.
The fucking the bit rate on this on OBS is shit. Maybe it's getting cut out. I can have a joint back. Hello?
Hello?
I literally don't like sort out this bit rate on the fucking stream because it keeps cutting out. It's stupid.
I can't quite remember myself.
Yeah,
Don't use
OBS is just. It normally works fine. But the last 2 weeks it's fucked up.
I don't use OBS that much, so I can't really help that much, you know.
I know. Oh, this is a shit stream so far. I'll have to try
Well,
and fix it somehow, but you know.
well, it's not been so bad so far.
It's not been bad for us, but it does keep cutting out.
Hmm.
I don't know how you fix it, and it's pissing me off. So what else should we talk about? Oh, shit,
What?
I'm gonna keep miking out. I don't know why.
Because it does. It's shit. But yeah, I mean, and it breaks my heart just how much they've changed it for the worse, you know. They've changed so many things that didn't need changing, all for the sake of being, you know, a more accessible shooter, like, you know, for like a shooter like Valorant, basically.
stream
Can't
cuts off one
understand.
more time and it's going to end it.
Can't understand why they do that. For example, you know, like they've changed some pointless things. They've changed they've changed the death animation. They've made the bodies disappear when they die, and the stab animation. It used to be a swipe. Now it's a stab. You know, the knife animation. Instead of being a swipe across the screen, it's a stab. And they took away several trophies for the terrorist hunt, renamed terrorist hunt into training grounds, and removed the bombers. Remember that trophy where you complete a terrorist hunt on the hardest difficulty?
Yeah.
That's gone now. So even if you got that trophy, it's gone.
So if you waste your time, it's just gone.
Basically, yeah. Fucking hate that.
That's dumb.
The siege we knew is long dead.
Yeah, I've seen gameplay recently and the maps are all different.
Not just the maps, it's the game, everything about it, you know?
Yeah, it's not the same anymore. Used to be a lot more fun.
And now I've not even tried the multiplayer. It might still be fun to try and play, you know, the multiplayer, but they just changed too much for my liking. Like, do you remember when they changed up the Hereford base? Like, they completely changed it into something. What the fuck was that about, you know? You remember it? Like, it used to be like that training building, wasn't it? It was like a training building, you know, the upstairs, the middle floor, and the basement where you got that winning round.
Yeah.
That was completely
They changed
changed.
everything about that game, it's annoying.
Yeah, we didn't remember how they changed it into something completely unrecognizable. Matt became a fucking maze, and it was like everything was dead old fashioned. Like,
That
you know, there
sounds
was
like
old,
Siege 3.
like an old wine cellar and everything, you know.
We used to have a lot of fun on that map.
Yeah, we did. But like, it's just long dead. You can't even watch the videos, you know, like you remember the video that originally used to play, you know, with what's her name, Angela Bassett playing Six.
Yeah.
Well, that's no longer in the game. You can't find that anywhere.
Yeah, Siege has changed so much. For the people that are pros,
Yeah.
not for the common person to play anymore.
If I tried playing that game now, I'd probably be absolutely shit on.
Probably. Yeah,
You know,
you would get shot in that game.
if I tried going in ranked, could you imagine what would happen?
Oh god, no, I don't want to imagine it. Eventually. Yeah, we would all get old on that game, I bet that.
Yeah. You know, like, well, Callum hasn't played that game on this PS4 in 5 years.
Oh yeah. We played it on Xbox one time, I remember that.
Yeah, we somehow managed to win, despite just 3 of us against 5 people.
We did spend like a year on that. Probably 2 years.
We played that game 2 years straight. Basically, we never stopped. I might play some of it later.
Yeah,
just to see
You start shouting about it.
to see how badly I get fucking shat on.
Yeah, you probably will get destroyed. Siege was our game for years and
Well,
awesome.
okay for a long time, but probably not anymore. I mean, it's just the fact that it's just the fact that it went from being a Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six game, your PvP game, to having more in common with Valorant or Overwatch or something.
Oh god. Well, speaking of Overwatch too, why is it so bad?
Oh, I probably played a bit, but they basically everything that people had got done, everything that people had earned in Overwatch 1. Well, in Overwatch 2 reset all that. So Overwatch 2, now everything that was free you kind of have to pay for with like battle passes and shit like that and the store. But basically, Overwatch 2 is basically some big glorified update for Overwatch 1. Only they remove an additional player. They remove the 6th player from each team, so now it's 5v5. And they've removed a few maps, and the PvE mode that was the whole point of the game has been cancelled. And that's not getting into the nitty gritty of it. There's got to be some other reasons I don't know about that it's been so overwhelmingly, negatively reviewed. But
He's got this. It's just the same game as the first one now, then.
basically, except with one less player on each team.
Hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, like that's going back to Rainbow. The whole aesthetic of the game changed. You remember that where it showed the logos when you were starting the game up, when it's like the logo being printed on Kevlar, wasn't it?
Yeah,
They showed the logo was like that. Show it, the printing the logo of Ubisoft, then printing the logo of Tom Clancy. That's been gone a long time now. It's just a blue screen with text on it now. Liability and all that shit.
Yeah, you were saying the other day it's more arcadey, isn't it?
It's way more arcadey now. It's like I saying, like remember how it had its own special little thing going on. You remember when you got killed and you went into slow motion as you fell down, and it had like a snap. It showed a snapshot of of the person who killed you.
Yep.
That's gone. You just drop dead now. Like in Call of Duty, basically, you just fall over dead, and then the bodies disappear, replaced by a marker that indicates where you were killed.
Well, that's dog shit. Why would you do that? I don't understand that.
They removed that to improve the flow of gameplay. So people aren't. Never mind the fact that you could just skip the death cam, And they removed the bodies so people can't hide in them, which was a legitimate tactic, which people were angry about. But so fucking what,
But it was part of the game.
Yeah, it had its own thing going. And the health. Do you remember how the health was a little circle on the bottom left corner?
Yeah.
They changed some big obnoxious oblong health bar on the left hand side, and a big rectangle on the left hand side with a counter above it. Like it's just more like a traditional health bar now instead of the little circle. Yeah. And the logo's been changed. That's 6 with the gun inside it. That's long gone. Instead, it's slanted. The logo is slanted now. It's like Rainbow Six Siege. They got this whole new story going on now with this guy called Deimos, who I actually like more than any of the actual characters because Deimos kills the director of Rainbow Six. Director of Rainbow, Harry, his name was. He was an Indian fella, and he was the one who did that whole competitive sporting event in a stadium or whatever, making Rainbow out to be some show ponies, playing in an arena with fake guns and shit. And then Dynamo, who was a former member of Rainbow, comes along in this cutscene and says, "You disappoint me, Harry. You took my unit and turned them into a bunch of fucking actors or some shit like that. Into a bunch of just a bunch of like athletes or something. Turned a bunch of hardened operators into show-off athletes." And then he sets a trap that blows up a lot of the operators. And Harry says, "And if you don't mind, I might happen to find you exceedingly fucking boring." So Dymus shoots him in the chest, stands up and says, "I'll tell him you went out swinging." But basically, yeah, people like Dymos because he killed Harry, and Harry took the Rainbow operators. Instead of being a counter-terrorism unit, he made them fight each other in a stadium as if it's some sporting event. All about improving work and all that shit. He also brought Nighthaven into the mix, which is a mercenary company, so he wanted to keep them under his close watch so they wouldn't go against them. This backfired because the leader ended up manipulating a few of the operators and having them, join Nighthaven instead, including Pulse and Smoke. And she considers Rainbow a bunch of amateurs because they fight for what's right and not for money. She calls her company, the Nighthaven company, the big boys because they're a high-tech mercenary unit that fight for a payday. And then, and she has a feud with Ash, the red-haired woman with the cat.
Yeah.
Feud with Ash because Ash believes in not using people as bait like she did in one of the events. And then she was basically calling Nighthaven the big boys, how they were superior to Rainbow. That came back to bite her in the ass because a few months later, in one of the seasonal videos they released, Rainbow tricked Nighthaven and effortlessly subdue her and place her under arrest because she was responsible for taking their operators and doing several dangerous terrorist acts or whatever. So that shut her cheeky mouth up. Anyway, that's the story they've got going. But I kind of preferred it when it was just, actual counter-terrorism like they had in Terrorist Hunt with the white masks. You remember when they gassed the university, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the whole point of Rainbow, is to fight terrorism, serious terrorist threats like that.
Yeah, none of them really cared about the story. We didn't really speak about the story when we played that game.
Yeah, there was the most that game had in terms of story was, Rainbow's been deactivated for several years, and this new terrorist group comes along that want to wage terrorist war against the world for, I don't know, for very obscure reasons. So Rainbow's reactivated, and loads of operators are recruited, and then they face off against the White Mask a few times before they finally go up in that gas event in, the university.
Yeah.
And then that was basically the story. Rainbow is back. We defeated the White Mask today, and now the world knows that Rainbow is back in business. That was as much the story the game had. The rest of it was just fighting each other. 5v5 simulated environments. I do kind of wish it was CTU versus terrorists.
I wish they changed Siege.
I wish they made it better, but not in the way that they've done now.
Yeah, I don't really. I don't know what happened in it anymore, like the story and that. I don't really care. The women are getting in the final of the World Cup.
Oh, goody.
They're gonna win it before the men win it. Guess the men aren't good enough anymore.
Apparently. Guess we'll just have to. Guess we'll just have
see
to.
what happens.
Yeah. I don't mind the women getting there first, obviously. It's just, it's when you get these women like, oh, we did what you men couldn't.
No, definitely.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, you'd be like, fucking play against, just play against the men and see what happens. Bet you can't, bet you can't beat the men. The Premier
Also,
League men.
but yeah, because there's a reason why they're separate in the first place. Because men and women are different. Men are stronger. That's always been the truth.
Men are naturally stronger. It's just physics, genetic biology. But like people are, oh, I mean, I do believe in strong women, but women actually have to get strong,
And
Like, I
even
mean,
then, most men can beat them.
well, a woman, in order for a woman to be naturally to be stronger than a man, she has to put a bit of work in. Well, other than that, when you put just your average man next to your average woman, your average man is stronger than your average woman because that's just the way we're built, the way humans grow, and how the way humans are built, basically. I'm not saying women can't be better than men. They just have to put work in to make themselves stronger.
If it was a woman fighting a man in MMA, they're gonna get beat.
Well, yeah.
It's just facts. It's just biology, that's what it is. Men have always just been stronger, that's the fact.
Naturally stronger. Yeah, if you take just like I say, you take an average male and an average female, and that with no remarkable parts about them, like no skills, no extra muscles, extra martial arts skills.
Well, if it's a lion, a man's lazy.
Yeah.
The women do all the work.
hope no feminists see this.
No, I don't care. Yep, that's just what it is.
Just thinking of all the feminists that are going to see this and get triggered.
Oh well. I don't think they're gonna see this. They won't spend that long watching the stream. Quite far in, and
Yeah. How's the stream doing? Is it still?
it's a bit better, but it's still there's OBS. It's just acting up, and I don't know how to fix it. Probably have to find something else to stream with.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
Which I think I have an idea. Called StreamYard, but I'll sort that out afterwards. Which is a better streamer thing. It's easier. But I don't know. I kind of just hate that this is messing up.
That's the way it works. The way the cookie crumbles.
It doesn't normally do this. 3 weeks ago it was fine.
Maybe it's just the internet or something.
Could be. There is more than one person on the internet in this house.
Oh,
Could be. What is one of your best movies of the year? Like, what is your best movie this year so far?
Oppenheimer, obviously.
Oppenheimer is, yeah, I think it's definitely one.
Absolutely.
Talk to Me is the best.
Horror movie.
Yeah. Oppenheimer is awesome. It's making crazy money still.
It will do.
I think it could end with like 900 million. That would make it the best R-rated movie.
I hope it crosses $1 billion.
I hope it. I don't. I would like it to. I don't think it will though. I'm just happy that it's doing well as it is. They made 700. That's crazy.
It's like you see people like, Christopher Nolan movies, you just know they're going to be good.
He has a unique way of making things.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's really weird.
Just knows what he's doing. That's him. He
He's
probably
like,
goes into he's probably read a lot about Oppenheimer.
he probably figured, whatever I'm doing right, I should just keep doing it. That's the way.
He's still, yeah, could be the best director of this century.
Best director of the generation, yeah. Love
There
him.
is people out there that are still doing great. A lot out there still doing great.
Yeah. But, ow, should have done that. Yeah, the best movie this year has got to be Oppenheimer. No question about it.
Can't wait for Napoleon.
Oh yeah, and the Ridley Scott movie. Oh, Dune.
Oh,
Even.
Dune 2, I forgot about that. I can't wait for that film. I regret that I didn't go to and watch the first one. But I'll definitely be going to watch the second one at the cinema. Can't wait. Yeah, Napoleon looks great. The flower of the whatever it's called. Martin Scorsese's film.
Killers of the Flower Moon.
Can't wait for that. David Fincher's releasing a film too. Called The Killers, I think it's called.
What?
David Fincher's releasing a new
Oh,
movie
David, yeah, The Killer, yeah.
on Netflix.
I
That's a
thought
crime. It should be in cinema.
it was gonna be like I thought it was another adaptation. It looks familiar to me, it looks a bit like The Day of the Jackal, but apparently it's based on a separate novel called The Killer, which is obviously what the film is called. It got me thinking, Michael Fassbender could definitely play the Jackal because he has the look.
Yeah, he
Needs to
can play killer.
make his hair blonde again.
They've got a weird movie called. What's it called? It's about like a snowman. They put like obviously snowman. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh, the Snowman.
That was a weird fucking.
Yeah, he played Detective Harry Hole.
Very weird that film. I can't remember exactly what happens, but a lot of it is weird. It wasn't what I was expecting anyway.
Hmm. Well, I saw it. Yeah, it was just weird. Thought maybe it'd be a good detective movie, and it wasn't that great, to be fair.
It wasn't what I expected it to be. I thought I thought the same thing.
But and the way it was filmed was really weird as well. Like some of the cuts were just strange. And also, you had what was his name? You had what's he called? can't remember his name. That's really bad because he's a good actor. Him who lost his voice from throat cancer.
Oh shit! I feel like an idiot now. What's his name? Oh god.
Val Kilmer, that's it.
Don't kill me, Jesus fucking Christ.
They had Val Kilmer in that film, but they had to dub his voice. It looked really weird.
That's yeah. Nuts.
A weird movie, but I liked it.
Still a lot of good things that are out at the minute.
Yeah.
You just don't get talked about because they get overshadowed by everything else.
Yeah, I would like another adaptation of The Day of the Jackal. You got the one with Bruce Willis. Like
I'll see
that's
that one.
what entered my head was like, the when I saw it, I was like, the killer, and I was thinking, oh, that looks like The Day of the Jackal. Because I really love the movie. I mean, I love the original movie. Dead weird. It's like, you're not supposed to root for this guy. He's like an evil version of James Bond. He's a British assassin out to kill the president of France in the early 60s. Working for, he's on a, sorry. He's working, undercover basically, disguise his secret identities, other identities, posing as other people, sleeping with beautiful women. But the dark side is that he's definitely not a good person. He's a murderer. Because like people become of no use to him anymore. He just kills them. But he's not wasteful. He doesn't murder. He doesn't murder outright. It's if someone's in his way, or if they can expose him. If they know who he is. But all the time, it feels like you're watching a James Bond movie, but it's a James Bond who is very evil and had to do something bad. Not try and prevent something bad from happening.
He's trying to cause it.
Yeah, he's trying to assassinate the president of France. If you watch the movie, you'll get what I'm talking about. Because he's English, he's well soft spoken, but he makes and women fawn over him. But he's very much not a good person. Like you're not supposed to root for this person. You're watching the whole movie, but you're not supposed to root for him. You want him to get caught.
Yeah. The same for that film Hostel, you actually want the Americans to get away.
It's like just one of those. It's like the Wolf of Wall Street. Watching Jordan is funny, and seeing his antics, seeing the antics he gets up to is funny, But at the same time, it's painfully obvious that Jordan is not someone you're supposed to be rooting for. He's a very bad guy, He's stealing money from.
When he's meant to stop what he's doing, but he's like, we don't stop, we carry on.
The show goes on.
Gets one.
Comes back to bite him. Yeah,
He didn't want to let everyone down.
I don't think it's a matter of that. I think it's a matter of him just saving face and wanting to keep it, stay rich. It's like he's dead out.
Party going that he was doing.
It's like when he invites the FBI agent on his boat, and he tries to bribe him. That's like he says he only lets him onto the boat because he wants to feel like a Bond villain.
Yeah, the family member died of, and he didn't give a shit.
All he cares about is the money that's tied to their name. And he says sometimes when you live on a boat good enough for a Bond villain, you have to act the part. And just like a Bond villain, he makes a Bond villain stupidity move and tries to bribe the FBI agent, which only gets more heat on him.
That's his problem.
It's just when they call it a villain protagonist and a hero antagonist. When the main character is a bad guy, but the bad guy trying to catch the guy going against him trying to catch him is the good guy.
He only gets caught because of fucking being answering them before and talk about it.
Oh, that, yeah.
But he's fucked up, so he can't do anything about it. Wolf of Wall Street is such a great film.
Mm. Classic film. I'm just gonna go wash my. We'll put something in the sink to wash. I'll be back in a minute.
We're over an hour anyway, so I'll call it then.
We'll just call it there.
Because I don't know if the stream's any good, but whatever.
Oh well.
See you in a bit.
Enjoyable for us. Bye bye. Is that it? Yeah.